Okay. So,
try and make a thing.
yeah.
make We're professional around here.
Hey, we're
Hey,
professional.
we're professionals. We do our
Get over,
job.
huh? We are Religious Detox. Introducing.
Rafe Horn.
Hey guys, my name is John Clark, and welcome to another episode of Religious Detox.
I'm Ryan Andrew Nicewonder. Thanks for stopping by.
What's up, Ryan? How was your day?
Good. It was good. I went to work, did some errands, unloaded a truck, and raked a yard with dirt. We dug up sprinklers,
Mm-hmm.
and so there was still some mounds of dirt left over from the trenches that we dug and filled most of it in. And so I took the mound, and spread it out over the yard uh, to level it off, so that way you can't tell that we just put sprinklers in the ground. So we can start sowing grass seed.
Okay, that
So
sounds like a lot of physical labor.
yeah, yeah, it was fun. I love it. It saves me time from having to exercise because
Yeah,
I love working out and I love exercising, but if I can get it out while I'm working, even
and
better.
getting paid for it, yeah,
Yeah.
that's a bonus.
Even better. And so yeah, it was pretty good. Did that and then came home to get ready for here. How was yours?
I had a good day, exceptionally well. Seriously,
Nice.
I was surprised how smooth it went today with working with some patients and had a lot of staff members come together, and so there's a lot of teamwork involved, and so we were able to accomplish a lot.
That's awesome.
So yeah, it was good.
Awesome.
All
Teamwork
right,
makes the
so
dream work. So yeah, with religious detox, what are we getting into today?
I would
Hmm,
think that we were talking about crossing the line.
cross
Yeah,
crossing the line.
yeah, that
What do
line.
you the line?
Don't
Crossing
cross
that
that line,
line?
boy.
Yeah, the crossing the line. That moment when you uh I guess for a lack of better terms denounce the religious organization that you are a part of. It's so I guess in other words, hello. My name is Ryan and I am a former Christian. I was once a very active member in Christianity. The and I no longer believe.
That pretty much sums it up, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So to put it, which is the boring version of the story, it's very, very nuanced. It's like a onion. There are many layers,
Yeah, there is. I agree.
and it was a slow burn getting there, kind of. Because I remember the first time that it uh was officially there. The words were out of my mouth. I'd been feeling that way for a while, and I kind of feel like I'd been pretending to be a Christian.
Mhm.
And yeah, it was 2009 ish, so I was driving in my car uh, and I just was praying and talking, and I'm like, there is no one there.
Wow. Was that frightening to you at all?
Yeah, it was really,
Yeah,
yeah, it
I
was
would think so.
very scary. Um, because it was all I believed in and had. I'd lost friends for Jesus,
Hmm.
left the home for Jesus, and yeah, so it it was very difficult, because I was a Christian music artist and I honestly thought I was sent on a mission from God.
I can relate. Yeah.
And then I'm suddenly realizing there is no mission.
Wow. Yeah, that had to be devastating to conclude that.
Yeah.
And were there people that, I don't know, maybe stepped in your life that kind of influenced maybe that ideology, or
No.
just a self revelation kind of
Yeah.
thing? Okay. Some
It's
deep thinking and soul searching.
yeah, and
Yeah.
I felt like I'd just been trying to make something work for me in my life that just had never worked. Like the time I was in college to be a minister, like it was miserable. I was like probably some of the most depressed I'd ever been in my life.
Uh,
I didn't feel like anyone actually liked me, and so I guess that was sort of the start of the fall was,
yeah.
several years before that when I was in college, and it just, started falling apart. The more classes that I took, the more I learned about church history. It it just was falling apart.
Hmm.
The institution that was trying to teach me to go out and spread the word was just sort of turning me away.
Right.
Because when you learn that church started with Catholicism and then it split off with Protestants, and then from Protestants split out into all these different areas, and each one of the different Protestant, Catholic, Christian, whatever you want to call it, each one of their doctrine has different requirements that have a different point of salvation.
Right. I
And
follow.
and why should something as simple as salvation be so complicated?
Hmm.
And,
So
and
that
j-
raises the flag, huh?
yeah, and
Yeah.
just the more I learned about the different denominations, the history of the churches, and everything, I just realized it just made me feel like they were all stupid arguments. That
Yeah.
at what point of conversion does salvation occur?
Hmm.
And I remember being in debates in college about that, because some people believed that it was when you accepted Christ, some people believed that it was at baptism, uh, and some people believe that if you weren't, and some people have different views on baptism. Some
Hmm.
it's fully immersing, some it's sprinkling. So yeah, so all of
Yeah,
those
there's a word.
things, and then the Council of Nicaea. When I learned about that in school,
Hmm.
I was like, oh, and that's
Even
when
more disturbing.
that's when I really started not believing that everything in the Bible was real.
Right.
At that point, I was like,
Yeah.
oh,
Yeah. What about these other books that didn't make it
yeah,
into the? Yeah.
that piqued my interest. And then one thing I find interesting, I was always curious about the fall of Lucifer and Satan,
Right.
and that's told in church, but it's nowhere actually in the Bible does it describe it. But the book, there is a book that is left out of the Bible. I think it's in the book of Enoch, where
You
it
know.
describes the fall of Lucifer that everyone in modern churches is told,
Hmm.
which I found very interesting.
Yeah.
And so, like, because some of those stories are still passed down, but yet they were left out. Why weren't those as inspired as the others? Um,
That's a good question. What about the book of Job? I find the book of Job really interesting, and actually, it seems a bit immoral um, for this. It's almost like God and Satan are kind of teaming up to see how far they can take Job. That's
yeah,
maybe I have a bad interpretation of it, but that's kind of what I see going on. It's like Yahweh is talking to Lucifer, and he's allowing him to kill, steal, practically everything out of Job's life just to prove that he's a righteous man. I mean, that's a little twisted.
yeah,
I mean, that the whole story is a bit odd. And so I find it also strange how, so correct me if I'm wrong. So Lucifer approaches God, right? To
yeah, to tempt him,
what am I
or
trying to say? To condemn, right? To say, okay, uh, what about this servant so and so who's doing this, this, and this? I mean, that's been my interpretation of, I guess, Lucifer's role.
right?
But when you think of that, okay. I'm a little off here, Brian. I know we're getting off of your story,
No,
but I
go.
just want to
I
interject
love
with
the
this real
tangent.
quick. I just want to say this real quick. So Lucifer, who is evil, is allowed to approach God and condemn believers for their sins. So I've heard many Christians say, well, God's so holy, you've got to accept Christ in your heart to, like to be in his presence,
Yeah,
which doesn't make any sense. Like if
because
God makes the
God and
rules,
Satan are hanging out in Job.
yeah, right. Thank you.
They're not acting like enemies.
No, they're
they're
not.
not. They're not really
Like the
like.
people, have you thought about what's going on here?
Yeah,
It's odd. But anyway, go ahead.
it's and then after Job's friends yell at him, God yells at him, like yells at
Yeah.
him some more, and he's like, "Why are you questioning? I make the
And so,
Leviathans and the Kraken."
and so
Job's like,
Job
"All
is
right, all
considered
right, I give up."
is Job is considered the what, the most righteous man?
Wait, say that again.
Was Job not considered the most righteous for a man,
Uh,
on
I
earth?
think during his time, at least.
Okay.
I don't know about ever. I think Jesus wins that one.
Yeah. I mean, I knew, I figured that much, but as far as a man, I thought that Job
Yeah.
kind of,
Uh,
he
and
had that
there
trophy.
there was also The dude, there was another guy that didn't actually die.
Yeah.
That was
Methuselah? No. Was it
like
Methuselah?
I I want to say yes.
Okay.
Somewhere one of those dudes,
Yeah. One of those Old Testament
one
dudes.
of one of those Old Testament guys that I've forgotten their at one point I could have told you exactly who it was, but now I've just resorted to yeah, that dude.
Right.
He's in one of the first couple books. It's in Genesis or Exodus. I think Genesis, because I'm pretty sure it was pretty early on.
I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, for those of you who are just now tuning in to Religious Detox, let me just give you a heads up. We are talking about some biblical stories that in the Old Testament and even in the New Testament, there's things that don't really seem to add up. And so, we're, Ryan and I are, having this conversation. And this is personal experiences for us. You all may have your own stories and things that really don't add up. And so we're just, we want to hear some feedback from you all. And, don't forget to give us, send us a message, give us some feedback, and let us know what you think.
Yeah, we can be reached on a lot of the social medias at Religious Detox on Facebook, Twitch, Instagram, Twitter, and YouTube. Just put in at Religious Detox and you should be able to find us. And you can message us through any of those, leave a comment on the video. That's very important.
Yes, it is.
And hit the thumbs up, whether
And
you mean it or
subscribe.
not. Whether you like it or not, just hit the thumbs up.
Let's do it.
Just do it. Just do it. It doesn't matter. And so yeah, in that's basically the time I crossed the line was around 2009. I was living in Kentucky again, and yeah, had just hit the realization that I'm probably talking to no one. And so, and it took several years to kind of deal with that because I still tried to go to church. Um,
You still went to church despite
yeah,
knowing that in your gut feeling of like, this isn't right, this isn't the truth.
yeah.
Oh,
I
well, you were just a
just
sucker.
in case, and also uh, weird family issues. Because my family's very Christian,
Yeah.
and or most of my family. Uh, and the fact that I'd invested so much time and money
Yeah,
into it, I
for
really
sure.
wanted to give it every chance.
Hmm.
And so yeah, for the next year or so, I don't know, I would try to go, and then I eventually stopped. But yeah, even after I moved out to Los Angeles, there was a church I would pop in every once in a while. One of those new progressive ones.
Yeah,
Uh,
with a projector,
yeah,
lights, sound
yeah,
system.
light sound system. Their band played pop music.
Yeah,
It I mean, it was Christian songs, but it sounded like pop music.
Yeah,
I didn't dig it. It wasn't. I don't really like pop stuff, and
yeah,
so it wasn't really my thing. But the messages were cool.
nice. I found in my latter stages of Christianity that I wanted a more roots, bare bones kind of fellowship. Like I definitely made up my mind I was no longer part of the institutional church where you have to tithe and do all these rituals and sacred
Mm-hmm.
rites and whatnot. But I was after more of just an organic, group of believers that got together, you know, studied the Bible and prayed with one another and that kind of thing. And also, and we had a little group there for a short time, and we had some ideas about getting involved in the community and not just doing something for
Mm-hmm.
the local church, but stepping outside of, you know, um, the whole idea of just serving the church, and
Right.
going out into the community and neighborhoods and just regardless if they're believers or not, just help people out.
Being a neighbor.
Yeah,
Actually
right.
being a neighbor.
Yeah. So, um, yeah, I mean that was kind of cool. I
Nice.
mean, you and I have talked. We do regard fellowship as something very important,
Yeah.
and still do. I do.
Me too.
I think it's great. I think people should fellowship,
Right.
and that's what we're doing.
Right.
That's part of the
Exactly.
goal of our mission. Oh no, this is not a ministry.
Goal of our ministry.
I'm teasing. That was a bad joke, wasn't it?
Please send your donations.
But
But yeah, the but no, I get what you're saying. Where did you what happened to that group
um,
ultimately?
well, I'd rather not say on
Okay.
camera
Okay.
just because I don't want to get involved in,
Drama.
yeah, but it was just time to fizzle.
Right.
Yeah, so it happened for good reasons. Yeah,
Yeah. And that happened, unfortunately happens. The home groups were kind of cool. There was a church, one of the last churches I was actually a member of, did had community groups,
mm-hmm.
and those were fun. I got pretty close with a few people that were in the group, but you know, I moved,
Yeah,
and so life, mm, you know, and people move on, and so. But it's funny how people find each other again.
yeah, it's real funny. So there was a
It,
span of what was it, 10 years?
yeah, something like that. Because I left Knoxville around 2006, I think,
Okay,
and then every I think, and then yeah, it was a while. Over the last year or so, uh, we would kind of message briefly, like, "Hey, what's up?"
yeah,
Not much. Cool.
right,
and then
yeah.
and then the
Nothing
next
too deep.
year,
Yeah, just on the
um,
surface.
and yeah, yeah, and then just recently started really communicating again, and it's been really cool to find out that we've been on sort of parallel journeys.
Yeah, that's really interesting to me too.
Yeah, it's or more like we started here and then ended up intersecting at the point in our journey that we're at. So it's really cool how that happens, which gives me hope because I believe that we're more than just uh flesh bags and
Oh
walking meat
yeah.
suits. I believe that we're so much more than that, and there are so many different levels to reality and the universe that it's so much bigger than what anyone can imagine, than what I can even imagine. Like yeah, and I have no proof of that, but you know, I like
No,
to
I see
imagine.
where you're
I mean,
going with
hell,
that.
Elon Musk thinks that we're in a that we might be in a simulation. So cool, whatever, man. I- I'm down. But it is very cool, nice that we've intersected on this journey,
Yeah.
especially at a point where fellowship is very important in society and in both our lives. Because I think
Hmm.
right now, just with the different things we both had going on in our lives simultaneously,
Hmm.
uh, fellowship has us coming back and fellowshipping and sharing and really being friends again has couldn't have come at a better time.
Right. Oh, for sure.
You
And
know,
it's interesting too that I think you and I both have had enough time to learn and discover who we are as individuals. And
right?
so that I feel like that makes it even more interesting that you've had your time to your journey, and same thing with me. And lo and behold, hey, we've got very similar parallel stories in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
So it's cool. Yeah.
The universe works in many, many fun and mysterious ways, and is it's so fascinating.
And it's not going to stop with this podcast. I
No.
see that it will extend much further than this. You know,
Yeah.
I'm having fun. Obviously, this is great to me. I
It
mean, this
is.
is so fun and exciting. This is a new adventure, and I'm learning. You're learning not only about each other, but we're learning about, of course, people's different beliefs and religions, and
Yeah.
both you and I are musicians, and so
Oh, I
who
can't wait.
knows where this will take us.
I can't wait to start getting into some music and putting together the lyrics that I have already written that I'm not putting that I don't have music for with some of the music that you have written. I'm looking forward to putting those together over the next month.
Oh yeah.
And so yeah, speaking of not just stopping here, no doing music, there's so many other different creative outlets that we have and want to work on, so that's super exciting.
Well, yeah, we're both comedians.
Definitely.
You're a cartoonist. Yeah,
Definitely.
you're
Yeah.
you're gifted in that area.
The
So
it it's going to be great. It's so going back to um like
crossing the line.
well
Yeah.
Yes, and to something you said about learning and being comfortable with yourself. It
Mm-hmm.
it wasn't until after, you know, accepting and just being free that I felt able to grow as a person
Mm-hmm.
and to really seek who I am. Like, try and be, who do I want to be? Do you still want to be a good person? Do you want to not be a good person?
Yeah. Right.
Like, are you going to be better than you were before? Can you, and so those are all questions that, when you're going through different life changes and, you know, that you kind of have to answer. Like, are you being good just because you're afraid God is going to punish you? Are you being
Mm-hmm.
good just, or do you honestly want to have the best intentions for another person? And do we end up succeeding? No. I mean, we all hurt people.
Oh
That's
yeah, you do.
if if you don't realize that you're the villain sometimes, like, you need to reassess what's going on, cuz I assure you somewhere some point in your life someone cannot stand you. And so, and I'm sure more people than not can't stand me. I'm sure I piss everyone off, but sometimes you're the villain,
It's okay.
sometimes you're the
Yeah.
hero. You gotta go. Like, you
Yeah.
can't stop.
Just roll with the punches.
Yeah,
You can't let the haters stop you, right?
nope.
No, you
Just
don't. You
you
don't stop. It's like hip hop. You don't stop.
hip hop. You don't. You keep going. Improve. Be a better person than you were the day before. Get back up.
Exactly.
Try.
Mm-hmm.
Assess what you didn't do and don't like, and you know it's taken a while to sort through a lot of those things and feelings.
Yeah,
You know.
I've been there, man. I definitely can relate to that. So life is a journey, and hey, we're glad to have everyone on board with us with Religious Detox. Um, I'll say this again. Please don't hesitate to share your story with us. Um, give us a message, send us a message, and just let us know. Because it's not just about Ryan and myself.
No.
This is a community. This is fellowship, right?
Yes, this is a fellowship, religious detox fellowship, freeing you of your shackles. I don't know. That was really, pretend I didn't say that.
No, it's
I'm not
good.
going to edit it out. I'll keep it in, but
Keep
we'll
it.
just pretend like I didn't say it. Didn't happen. I didn't say something stupid.
Stupid is okay.
Oh
It's
yeah,
fun.
I'm used to it. I do you leave conversations sometimes and you're just like, "Oh my god, dude,
Yes.
why did I say it like that?" And it's not necessarily
Yes.
like what you said, but kind of how you said it. And you're
Right.
like, "Oh man." Or you're a little too passionate about something you could care less about. And then you're like, "Man, now they're going to think I've got a really strong opinion about yogurt or something."
Yeah,
Do you ever do
I do. Yes.
like
You're not the only one.
I it's not as much, but definitely when I was younger, seemed like every conversation I left, I was regretted everything I had just said. I was just like,
What
why
was
do
I
I
thinking?
talk?
Am I possessed?
Yeah.
What was in
Who
my mind?
who's saying
Who
this?
said, who said those ridiculous things? I think it's good that we can reflect back to those things because it can actually humor our own selves, and
Yeah.
and that's what a lot of comedians do. The takeaway is, well, they might have had a crappy life, could have been depressing, but you can capitalize on those things and make it funny or entertaining.
Yeah.
So, yeah,
I've had my own struggles with being funny because uh I realize going through and breaking down psychoanalyzing
walls.
myself,
Yeah,
I realize that humor uh for much of my childhood and everything was just a defense mechanism.
yeah,
Like I was just always on, like I was always real quick to cause a scene, like just to distract you.
hmm
And um and so I eventually didn't really eventually like at one point, where I didn't really like being funny because I felt like I was just being like a defense. I didn't like the defense mechanism part of it.
So you picked up on your own.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And but it's come back around to where I'm definitely at the point where life is hard and you kind of have to laugh at everything. And so it's hard. Like take the piss out of
yeah.
it, laugh at it, make it a joke, laugh at your obstacles. They get smaller. when when it's just kind of funny, it it humor removes a lot of that power.
Yeah, it does. It does help. It's therapeutic. I know it's been therapeutic for me in a lot of ways.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, that's how I self-medicate, man.
So self medicate with laughter. uh,
Oh,
no.
crossing the line.
Yep.
Yeah. Well, I indeed crossed that line. Hi guys, my name is John.
Hey, John.
I used to be a born again Christian, and I had a lot of questions toward the. Actually, it's been the last 6 months. When I encountered sickness and had a lot of time to think, and just one of those things where you know that there's some questions that you've got that are nagging you in your head, and you've ignored them, you've pushed them back, and so hey, it was time to man up and stare at those little monsters in the closet and pull them
Yeah.
out one by one and examine. And that's kind of what I did. I just started reading the Bible through a different lens, if you want to say, and um, I wanted to read it in such a way that I wasn't biased, but I just wanted to approach with some critical thinking. I wanted to break things down and like just get to the root of things and how the whole process began. So we're very similar. You know, when I started looking at how the Bible was formed, and then I started looking into theologians, Bible scholars, and what they were saying, and um, I read a lot from. I probably shouldn't mention any names, but there was several Bible scholars that
Yeah.
I would read their material, and so I thought it was good to look at both sides of, you know, from a Christian point of view, what Scripture says, and then someone who may be agnostic or atheist or whatever. And so that was, I remember when I was at that point, at that line of almost to cross over, it was scary.
Yeah.
And I knew I was either going to just have my doubts, um, I guess, either affirmed or not. And I just said, okay, I'm going to go full force and discover this. And I really didn't have anyone in my life that was saying, John, you need to, you know, question all the biblical things that you were taught or whatever. There was no influence whatsoever. It was just solely me, myself, and I.
Right. Yeah, me
You know,
neither. It
it was just my journey, and but at the same time, it was kind of cool. Like, okay, you know, I was, you know, putting my armor on, and you know, grown man, I can handle this. I've faced a lot of difficulty in my life, you know, which I will say that Christianity has been at the forefront of my. I don't know, it's probably a terrible way to phrase this, but it's always been like just a thing in my life, you know, like the
it's been
cornerstone, it felt like,
it's
of,
been your life.
yeah,
Like it was it
yeah, it
was
really
it
was
was here, and then everything in your life, like
revolved.
for me too. It was everything that my life was built on.
Yeah.
And then and then suddenly I just had pieces.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
Yeah.
And so no, I know exactly what you mean. Like everything that, like, it wasn't like you were in, and like always in.
Oh, yeah.
Like it
I
was
was sincere, a devout
yeah.
follower. You know, of course, I sinned and I fell short and did stupid things, but I was determined to be a better Christian, a better person, and I wanted to do the right thing. And but it just seemed like the more I thought about things, and you know, I have to say that I have looked at other believers, other Christians, and kind of examined their lives. You know, you could just say I've been judgmental. I have.
Yeah.
It's, there's
Everybody
no way to
is.
sugarcoat this.
Everybody. And if you
Yeah,
think they're
yeah,
not
you
doing
are.
the
Everyone
same
is.
thing, they're doing the same thing too. Cuz
Right.
everybody does.
So I could see that there was this ambiguous thing going on. There was no consistency, and then you know his truth and my truth looked different. You know, where I would
Right.
think, well, the Old Testament says this, and you know, it seems to me that we're supposed to live by some of these things, but you know, these other guys throw it out because oh, that's Old Testament don't mean nothing.
Right.
Just things like that. It just really it frustrated me, and I thought, how can this be so truthful and real when no two people are on the same page? No
Yeah.
one.
No, yeah.
It's all up for interpretation. Why is it, how can truth be open to interpretation? You know, it
Yeah.
should be just black and white, right?
It's right.
It made no sense to me.
Is I didn't understand
I
why
could
there were
get past that.
caveats to salvation, and
Yeah,
and those certain caveats were dependent on who you were talking to. Like, why are there
yeah.
caveats? Like, can you be saved or not saved? Why? Yeah. Oh, I think we're freezing.
We kind of glitched out for a minute.
Yep, we're back though.
Okay. Yeah, we're back.
Yeah.
Full force.
I did that backwards. like much of like much
Sorry.
of the things that I do, I did that in reverse. Uh
It's okay.
yeah. Um yes, going back to church and different things in the Bible. Why don't we do things from the Old Testament anymore? That was the last bit of your. I didn't know if you had a.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, I didn't lose thought.
Oh, okay, okay. I didn't know if we
I guess I could
were.
expand a little bit more.
My bad.
No, I can totally expand. Um, so there came a point where I was examining more and more the Old Testament I was reading, because to be honest, I've been one of those Christians that just sort of dismissed the Old Testament.
Okay.
Like I couldn't tell you too many stories from the Old Testament. Now I probably could, but
They're fun.
um,
Those are the fun
I
stories.
just yeah. Well, some of them are a little bizarre, but kind of cool too.
It
Yeah.
captured my
So when I
imagination.
started when I examined back to Genesis, and I think I mentioned this on episode one, I couldn't get past the very first book in Genesis where it says God created, and there was no mention of this Savior Jesus in the very beginning of Scripture. Like if Jesus was going to be the answer, it looked to me, in my reasoning and my thinking, that Jesus would have been mentioned. So, you've got a lot of Christians will say, well, he is mentioned. Well, he's mentioned in a different name.
I've heard that Jesus is because you know how God speaks in plural for the creation.
That's true. Yes.
That
Excuse me.
because God is speaking in plural, that He's implying Himself and Jesus and the Holy Spirit.
Okay.
And so that's what that's implying. I don't know.
But still,
I'm
yeah,
just as
you've
like
got
I'm just as inclined to believe the ancient aliens theory of what that means. So,
right.
you know, like for me,
It
like
is.
it, like maybe we were genetically. It would make sense for the God speaking in plural if it was a whole bunch of people. Anyway, that's
Mhm.
yeah. So no, I get what you're saying. Like no mention, and he's really not mentioned. Like he's really not mentioned in the Old Testament. Like not by
Well,
name.
hence you have a religion called Judaism for that reason.
Yeah,
They don't see
I didn't realize. I'd
the Savior.
been watching a lot of uh the Myth Vision videos,
Yeah,
because you
yeah.
requested that, and
What's up,
lately
Derek? What's up, man?
they he's has had Rabbi Tovi Singer, I think that's his name. But the
Yes.
last video I watched was about how anti-Semitic Christianity is, and I was just like, "Oh my god, I never thought of it like that." like in when I heard them go over the Bible, I'm just like, oh my gosh, this sounds like a bunch of anti-Semitic propaganda.
Yeah.
And so I was like, this seems like some weird ancient anti-Semitic propaganda that just didn't die out.
I
And,
think so.
and so I'm like, wow, they and yeah, and he was just like, Jews weren't really like that, like back in the
Hmm.
historical context of the day. And it just made me think. And it was very humbling to think from that point of view. Especially from
Yeah.
something that I'd regarded so closely for such a long period of my life. And I even really loved Judaism. I always, you know, and yeah, but after hearing them talk about it, I was just like, wow, this is fairly anti-Semitic, and Jesus isn't even mentioned in the Old Testament. The books that we claim to have gotten from Judaism, which are apparently fairly different.
Yeah. They are.
Like,
It's true.
it,
But it all depends on who you're listening to as well,
yeah,
and their interpretation. But yeah, I will say that Rabbi Tovia is a good teacher on Judaism, and he comes after Paul in the New Testament pretty hard,
yeah.
and I like it too. It's good.
It it was way after the fact when I it things about Paul just didn't make sense.
Hmm.
Like way like I'd already wasn't believing, but I still would think about the Bible and stuff, and then yeah, and then Paul just kind of just kept popping in my mind, and I was like, man, I'm not so sure about that dude now. Like, because I started thinking about the church and like Jesus and what I felt like he was really trying to say, which
Hmm.
is, hippie Jesus is sort of my point of view, where he's like, go out and worship wherever, be kind to people, pay your taxes, love everybody,
Hmm.
and it's hard for me to imagine that wandering dude that was just wandering around, feeding people out of nothing. It's hard to believe that he would want an organized religion. And so it just got me thinking about Paul, and I'm like, the modern church kind of started with him, and like the whole like book of Acts is sort of the basis for the modern church.
Hmm.
And
It does
so
appear that way.
I'm like, maybe, and then years later I run into, Rabbi Tovey on the internet and hear all of that stuff, and I'm like, oh my god, those like weird random, when you're contemplating the universe thoughts, like kind of turned out to be something. I was like, oh wow. And then hearing them, talk about all of the anti-Semitism that is in
Hmm.
Christianity, like, and the thing is, I know Christians that have nothing but love for Judaism and Jewish people, and but their religion is very anti-Semitic. Sorry, like, sorry.
Well, here's a thought.
Yeah.
You've got Judaism. I'm sorry. That's totally wrong. You've got Christianity and you have Islam,
Mhm.
which those two religions do mention Jesus. So if you're questioning the existence of Jesus, how is it that two religions, like claim that he was a real person? You know what I mean? Like, I'm just throwing that out there, like food for thought. You've got two major religions that say that he was alive, he lived, and
Yeah.
so that's all. What's your thoughts, or do you have any?
I don't
We
know.
can skip that, man.
The I think it is entirely possible. You know, the in the realm of possibilities, there could be this being Jesus that came to Earth and through some act of physics and time, because apparently there are multiple timelines. I could
Mhm.
see some sort of sci-fi weird way where you know Jesus, where it could could happen. There could be a weird. Wait, I don't know where I was going with that. Okay, but I don't know the like because I don't know. I'm not aware of the Islam, him being quoted in there. Um, but within Christianity is the only place I'm really aware of him. Real records of him are in the New Testament.
Well, none of the Egyptians ever wrote about Jesus or his miracles
Yeah,
that I'm aware of.
and none of the other historical books really. I mean, there's the Josephus stuff.
But he didn't meet him. Josephus wrote about
Yeah,
stories that he heard. So you still can't really go on that. You know what I mean?
right. And it could be also one of those things where there was a person of Jesus, but you know how sometimes they attribute a bunch of things that a person didn't really do to that person? Or uh like I just learned about this
Yeah.
recently. Like the dude that invented baseball, like, didn't necessarily invent baseball. They just accredited it to him. And like cuz he's also got cuz
Yes.
if you look it up,
Okay.
he's got this other. It was just convenient for history to just lump all this stuff into that dude. Kind of like King Arthur,
Hmm.
you know, like there may or may not be. So yeah, I don't know. I'm up in the air. Like there could have been a historical Jesus, maybe not. Um, I kind of feel the same way about that as I do about the Old Testament. Like there could have been a dude named Moses, maybe not.
Yeah. But
Like
there's no
maybe,
proof of that either.
you know. So
There's no proof of any of the writers of the Old Testament or the New Testament.
no, just different people doing translations of it.
Yeah.
And
So, yeah, that was another thing that pretty much kind of rattled me. Like, okay, we don't know who the authors are. We think we do, but there's no proof, there's no evidence. Oh, okay, well, that's a big problem in my book.
right, especially if it's supposed to all be the word of God.
Right. Yeah.
It when I learned about the Council of Nicaea, that's kind of where the Bible being the word of God. started falling apart to me. It
Yeah, because
slowly.
didn't they essentially have a council that determined which
Mhm.
books were chosen to be?
Yeah,
Yeah.
which
Okay.
show
That's what I thought.
it and actually the other day, because I have the other Bible, I pulled out that and I read the Book of Thomas. I'd been watching some Gnostic videos
Mm-hmm.
uh lately. Gnosis, knowledge, and Hermes, and
Mm-hmm.
and they had suggested, for Gnosticism, that if you're leaning Christian and curious, to read, the book of Thomas. And so I pulled it out the other day, and super boring. But it really wasn't different than, because it was one of the books that were taken out of the New Testament. And it really wasn't
Mm-hmm.
that different than the rest of the New Testament. I mean, there were a few things that I see, like that, like maybe why they could think it was kind of suspect to leave it out, because it is very Gnostic, I guess, which
Yeah.
Christianity is apparently opposed to knowledge and knowing, gnosis. Uh, and yeah, it was just
I think
interesting.
it's it was cleverly done by the council to to pick and choose all these books to create the narrative,
Yeah,
and I understand now
it
why there were books left out.
it's because they wanted to shape and control people, or
Yeah.
else they would have left the Gnostic portions of the Gospels in. They would have left in the Book of Enoch.
Hmm.
That's a fun book. There's
Yeah.
another book where it talks about how humans used to be able to communicate with animals.
Yeah.
Like we used to speak like an animal language or something. Uh, there's some fun creation stories. it
I'm pretty sure that in the book of Jude that there's some pieces that were borrowed from Enoch.
Okay.
I couldn't. I would have to do my research and find which ones, but I think there was a Bible scholar that pointed that out.
We need a Bible scholar on hand.
Hey, we do.
We do. We need we need to have a Bible scholar that we can just call up real quick.
Lifeline, please.
Yeah. Like yeah, we need to find us Dr. Bob.
Yeah, Dr. Bob. Hey, you never know.
It's
It
If
seems
you
like a
listen to
pretty
this and
cool
want to be our
opportunity.
Dr. Bob, please let us know. We would like a biblical scholar, or any scholar. If you are well versed in any uh, practice, we definitely want to talk to you and have you share what you know. Because I've been very interested in things like Buddhism. Uh,
Mm-hmm. Same.
so I would love to talk to a Buddhist, especially a very knowledgeable one. You know,
Mm-hmm. For sure. Wasn't MCA a Buddhist?
who?
MCA?
Oh, MCA.
MCA?
Oh, I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe, probably.
I think he may have been to Buddhism. I don't know. I'll have to
Me
find
neither.
that out. I'll call it Mike D. I'll let
Okay,
you know.
call him and ask him,
Yeah.
and
Yo, Mike.
have him tell Ad Rock I said what's up.
Yeah. Oh, well, what a
Uh,
legend, man, those guys.
yeah. Oh man, I always wanted to see them live, and I never didn't happen.
Yeah, that was on my bucket list as well. Excuse me.
Yeah, but I will say, Hot Sauce Committee Part Two, their last album, is probably one of my favorite Beastie Boys albums.
Yeah, they had a really cool reggae tune on there.
Oh yeah, that one with Santa Gold.
Yes,
Uh, I started listening to her because of Beastie Boys. She
I did
is
too.
really good.
Yeah,
She is so talented. I really got into her music after hearing it because I enjoyed the song, and so I looked it up. Oh man, I'll bump my car and be like, I'm a lady.
we need a special episode to, like a tribute to the Beastie Boys. Well,
Yeah,
we need to do that sometime.
the yeah, because they were a huge influence on both of our lives.
Yes, there were.
It creatively, uh, inspiration wise, oh man, yeah, um, yeah, huge Beastie Boys fan. So lucky to have them.
Yeah. Wow. How many albums they have? What, like 8?
I can't even do the math right now. uh, I
Yeah.
think, yeah,
Well, everyone pretty much was.
yeah. I think at least 8.
Oh, did you know they released a book like a year ago or so?
Yeah, I missed that. I wanted to see the documentary too, but I don't have iTunes or Apple TV, and
Yeah.
I don't really download stuff, so I didn't get to see that. One day,
One day.
one day I watch the Beastie Boys documentary. But it's still still a little makes me a little sad that they're done.
Yeah, I know. I had this hope, like, well, what if just the two remaining members like come up and create a band, but that will never happen. I just couldn't see it. They would have
It
probably already done that by now.
I would like to I would like to see what would happen if they produced some other people.
Yeah, that would be
You know,
interesting.
like if they did production for other artists, I would
Hmm.
love to hear, you know, oh, like if they produced a Santa Gold album. I think that would be cool. The man, their music videos are always so fun too.
Well, yeah, MCA was a part of that as well. He was a mastermind with he had a passion for video.
The
I
man,
later discovered that. So yeah, they had a lot of humor in their videos. It's adventurous. And
always, oh man. And when they did the Fight for Your Right revisited, did you see that movie?
hmm.
Like that was really good. Fight for Your Right to
Yeah.
Party is my go-to karaoke song.
Okay. I didn't know that.
Yeah, that's my go-to karaoke song is Fight for Your Right to Party. And on that note, that might be a good place to end it. Rest in peace,
Yeah.
Adam Yao. The I have if you watch Awkward Ghost Moments, he's on one
Hmm.
of the tombstones in the intro.
Really?
of my cartoon. Yeah, they
Yeah,
have. I have a bunch of names on there, like
yeah.
Old Dirty Bastard. He's one of the names. Jack Kirby, Dwayne McDuffie, MCA, and Alias, Brennan Whitney. Are you familiar with Alias, the hip hop producer,
Uh,
rapper? He was one of my favorite producers,
okay, I
and
gotta check out
he
stuff.
passed in like 2018.
Okay.
Um,
Mm.
and so, yeah, R.I.P. to those legends. Lost two this year that I don't like to think about. Double
Yeah, me too.
Double K and MF Doom.
Right.
There there was honestly a good couple year period where wasn't, and this was like recently, like when I was in LA,
Hmm.
but I wasn't interested in listening to any music if it wasn't People Under the Stairs, MF Doom, or Madlib. Like if it wasn't like any of those, or some like I would occasionally dip out to listen to some weird like rock music, like Glass
Hmm.
Animals or like Fantagram, like that, like electronic stuff. But yeah, it was mostly, yeah, people. If it wasn't People Under the Stairs, Madlib, or Doom, I just wasn't interested in listening. Uh,
I can see that. Yeah.
and so
Don't forget Quasimodo.
no, he's included in Madlib. The
Yes, he is.
I include
That's the
I include the various Madlib
alias.
stuff, like because Madlib did a lot of stuff with Jay Dilla. He did some stuff, some newer stuff with Freddie Gibbs. That's really good. The album Bandana might be one of my favorite new albums with Freddie Gibbs and Madlib.
Okay.
And so, anyway,
Nice.
music.
We got off on a tangent
We got off on it. I
that
don't
really
regret it.
shook the core
I,
of our art.
I don't regret it at all because I think music has been on both of our hearts lately because we were talking about it
Yeah.
before the show. We were both sharing some songs to kind of pump ourselves up.
Yes.
Little bit of inside baseball, guys. We we were sharing music with each other online during while we were pre-gaming the episode. Uh, so I don't regret the music tangent at all. I think it's beautiful.
I do too. Yeah.
It's
And
it
speaking of music,
Yes.
when I became Christian, I ended up ditching a lot of my secular music, and
Me too.
this is like this hurts to even talk about. So back in the day, like I'm talking about the late '80s and early '90s, I was a part of some like rap groups. Nothing really big. Just
Right.
home studio type stuff, and we would just mess around. I had all kinds of freestyles recorded, and once I became Christian, I was like, oh, that's of the devil. I gotta get rid of that, and I just can't believe that I threw all that stuff away, and I would pay big bucks to have it right now because those were good memories, and
Yeah.
and I actually had some awesome songs for that era.
Right.
I'll have to. I want to try to hopefully remake. It's going to be a sample, so it's not like I can release it. But I sampled a tune from Simply Red
Okay.
that, uh, and I ended up putting a steady B beat behind it and slowed it down. And I had so many people. This was back in like 92, 92, 93. They said this will go all the way. Like the way it was sampled and the structure of the song. and
Nice.
these guys came up and they had a hook for it, so it was golden, man. At least it seemed like it, but I never released it because I became a Christian and just threw it away. Yeah,
That that will be a good topic for a different for another
episode.
episode.
Yeah,
Yeah, things that we
regret
ended up
from being a
the
Christian.
things we yeah, the things we really regret and gave up for Christianity.
Yeah, it is. That's yeah. I like that. We should do it.
Yeah, maybe next time, maybe the time after that. But yeah, I think that would be a very good. Yeah, I think it would be a good thing because I gave up a lot of secular music. I there were a lot of even positive secular artists that I just refused to listen to because they weren't Christians.
Mm-hmm.
Um, there was even time I stopped playing music because I thought that it was too boastful and like haughty.
Yeah,
Like I thought it was too self-centered
right.
for me to do music.
Yeah, I get that because I
And
I do felt like it was a idol that I had
yeah,
formed in my life. In a way, I guess it was, but it you only I mean however much power you give something is you know it's all having that about having balance in your life, and
exactly.
if you can find that balance, then it will not take over like an idol. You know, it's
Yeah.
just it's kind of some of it's common sense. You know, just use your freaking brain and you know, okay, well, I can't just eat, sleep, breathe doing this when if I've got a family or if I've
Right.
you know I've got a job that I need to commit to and make money. You know, so
Right.
you just have to
But
just
if all of those things are being taken care of and you
then
have
why
some
not?
free time, then do your passion. You're really
Well,
hurting yourself by not doing your
right.
passion. If you have, if those things are taken care of and you have
Yeah.
the ability to do your passion and you have to carve out some time to do a passion that you have
Oh, that's a must.
a little bit. Like you have to
Especially.
carve out a time for your passion. Because if not, then your family will end up suffering, your work will end up suffering. And so it's all balance, like you're
Hmm.
saying.
Yeah.
L- It,
And
it
for us that who are creative thinkers, yeah, it we really have to be creative,
yes.
or we're not good people.
No.
It is our
No,
therapy. It is our drug,
it
and
is.
we need it.
And it's in putting this stuff together, like for me, it's been a huge help. Like people have noticed that
Hmm.
that I'm much more balanced because I'm able to get out like all of that creativity that's just clawing to get out of my brain. And
Yeah,
so
I see
I'm
a difference
thankful
in my
for
own life.
religious detox. And so I'm very thankful for religious detox. I'm glad we're doing this. And I can't wait for everyone else to join us on this journey. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel, like the video, and follow us on social media at Religious Detox. I'm Ryan Andrew Nicewinder.
And I'm John Clark, and we're out.
Yep. Thanks for coming by.